Hey guys, Kishinikari here. I just want to start this video off by saying I am so sorry about this crappy ass audio. I have no idea why it's so bad. It's something to do with my mic. I'm working on getting a new one right now, but please enjoy the video. Thanks and keep on gaming. See you later. What's going on YouTube? It's Kishinikari and today we're going to be talking about a little bit about Titanfall 2. And the first thing we're going to jump into is movement. The first thing I love about this game is the movement. It is so grand. Like, the mobility in this game is just so freaking fantastic that it is hard to understand why you wouldn't want to pick this game up. It's literally got some of the best movement in the game that I've seen in quite some years, actually. It's been a really long time since I've seen some really comfortable style of movement inside of a first-person shooter like this. The best things about the movement is how responsive everything is. When you want to move in a certain direction, it's not really much lag time, and even if there is, there's an option to edit it so that it's very little lag time, but I just love the fact that if I want to do a specific style of movement, if I want to jump off something or, just parkour something to get a better angle, the game isn't restricted to the point where it doesn't allow me to do it. The next thing we're going to talk about is the gunplay. Now, when it comes to first-person shooters, I basically live off of these types of games because I need something competitive in my playlist of video games that I've played that lets me feel like I'm pretty dominant at what I like to do. So I usually use first-person shooters for that because I'm pretty good at them. And I gotta say, the gunplay in this game is really cool. The guns are really accurate, but not stupidly accurate. I mean, there's a few, like the one I'm using now is the R201, which is stupidly accurate at any range, no matter what attachments you have on it. But it's also got a bit of a range debuff where the spread gets a little wider when you're using it. But as you can see here, the crosshairs are really clear on non-obstructing, and if I see somebody, it's going to be relatively easy to put shots on them, or vice versa. If they see me, it'll be relatively easy to put shots on me. I use this example because a lot of games like to do this thing where they make their iron sights or their general sights inside the game really clunky and cumbersome, and this game just does a really great job of making them really open-ended and viewable. Even the hipfire rate and spacing for the gun is really good. There's not much of a spread and it's very controllable. As you can see, there's nothing really obstructing my vision here. It's just really open and accepting. And I can peek around corners and be able to see what I want to see without a whole lot of obstruction and difficulty in order to, try to fake it or, just do all the little nuanced things that first person shooters do because your gun is just too big and clunky. You don't have that in this game, and I really love that. Next up, we're going to talk about map design. I'm a huge fan of map design too, especially for close quarters maps like this. You have to have an area for where people want to be right in each other's faces and get kills, and then they have to have an area where you can kind of get long range kills at the same time as well. And this map is really good at discerning the two differences between long range engagements and close quarters engagements, and I really appreciate every single room. Like you'll see here, I've seen this guy, it was a close quarters engagement, he was looking down the long hallway and he got punished for it. Now that's not really a bad thing, but it really plays to the effect that, there are different situations in every game. A lot of games like to do this linear thing where it's just like a straight hallway or just a straight path and you don't really have much to deal with here, and then you just can't flank or do anything here. But as you can see here, it's really open, it's really movement based, and I can get around, flank enemies, do what I need to do in order to move my team forward. And I appreciate the fact that they took the design and made it so that you can really play how you want to, whether it's close quarters, long range, or mid range. They really take their time with it, and it's nice. It's nice to see game companies doing that. I guess that's what you expect from a team that made one of the greatest first-person shooters ever in history, Modern Warfare 2. So good job, Respawn. The next thing we're going to talk about in this game are the gimmicks or the perks. Now, some of the perks inside the game are really cool. I specifically like using this one version of a perk called Ticks. It's basically a moving C4. You toss it out, it grows legs, and then it starts to roam around until you can get a kill. But there are other things like you see on screen there. That guy had shields. You can use those. There are also sentry turrets. There are little knives that work as radars, and then grappling hooks. There are a lot of gimmicks inside the game that help the game along better, to really give you your own identity style of play. You could be a rusher, you could be a recon guy, you could be support guy, just put shields down. You could be a suppressive fire person, put sentries down. There are a lot of gimmicks inside of the game, to the point where there's no single type of playstyle. There's never ever going to be anybody doing the exact same thing that you're doing. There's always going to be someone who wants to do something different, and it's really good for certain game types where you have to have something specific in order to progress and get the game done. Whereas usually people just grab a gun and then some C4 and then they just go in there, you know, they just kind of do their thing. But not in this game. They give you the options, and people use those options because they're valuable compared to other people's playstyles. And again, you only get that from game companies who really understand that people don't play one way. And Respawn really understands that. So once again, good job Respawn on putting in the gimmicks and perks inside the game to make it enjoyable, you know, for everybody. Not just the rushers and the kill street people, you know, it's more aimed towards the average Joe, the average player who likes to mess around with their kids. So nice job. The next thing I really want to talk on about this game is its connectivity. Now, Call of Duty based people or devs teams have a notorious history of making extremely bad games when it comes to connectivity, but not in this game. Even with the old-fashioned player-based ping server type of thing, like whoever has the best ping in the server is going to be the person to operate the server, basically. And even with that old style thing, the game is still kind of functionable. Not even kind of functional, it's very functionable, to the degree that I really wasn't lagging. It was very few matches that I experienced lag. As you can see here, my ping is phenomenal, and I wasn't really going through any real struggles per se inside the game, because the game's connectivity is so good. Now, it can be argued that the game isn't popular enough yet, and there isn't enough of a player base to cause the servers to, you know, crash and get all buggy and lag out. But at the same time, I've played a few matches for quite a few days now on a wired connection and then a wireless connection, and even on the wired connection, even on the wireless connection, I hardly ever lagged. There was very rare situations where I did lag, and there were situations where I had really bad internet, you know, not the greatest internet, and the lag was very minimal. So it looks like they took their time in order to make sure that the game was really well set inside of how you play it and how well you connect to it. So once again, Respawn, you're hitting all the buttons here, so good job. My final verdict on the game is it's really, really good. I would definitely recommend anybody who's an old school first person shooter, or just someone who's ever played MW2 or any of the really good Call of Duties or the really good Battlefields, to definitely pick this game up. It's the best of both worlds. It's very enjoyable. I would highly recommend it. This is Kishin Ikari signing off. Keep on gaming, guys. I'll have another video for Titan Plays very soon. Stick around to see. See you later.